Let's talk about your early stage strategy when it comes to your first sales efforts. So, your strategy for your early sales efforts matters. So, the early stage startup sales needs to pick the lowest hanging fruit in your market, learn quickly, and that's learning in sales and product feedback learning, as well as generate revenue quickly. So, if this focus isn't in place, a startup sales will be slower and this can jeopardize the startup survival. We need the fastest and easiest wins possible when we're bringing in our first sales efforts. And this is going to create a lot of beneficial forces propelling our startup forward when we can execute on that. So we need a strategy for the what and how of our first sales efforts. And so this is what the strategy is going to be. It has three parts: starting small, sprinting, and focusing on quantity over quality. So let's start with talking about starting small. So my advice here is don't chase big deals at first. Lots of founders complain about long sales cycles and how to solve for that. And really this is the answer, is starting small. Focus on smaller deals. You can always pitch and try to win big deals later, and it's going to be easier to get at-bats with smaller deals, and you're going to get those more frequently. Like with a smaller business, you can probably pitch them every 2 to 6 months. With a bigger business, you might not get another opportunity for another year plus. So that's why it's going to be really important to focus on smaller deals. So small here, when I say small deals, deals that have shorter sales cycles, fewer decision makers, and more agile organizations. So these are normally going to be the traits of selling into smaller accounts, and those things are going to make selling easier for you. So really the big benefits of starting small is that your company runway is going to increase because you have more and faster revenue. You're going to get quick wins, which is going to serve for the motivation and growth of your company. You're going to cut your teeth on smaller deals, really figure out early what doesn't work. You'll accelerate your learning for product feedback and sales. So you'll be able to improve your MVP and your product faster. And then you're also going to more quickly understand what does and doesn't work in sales, because you'll be able to connect with more decision makers, make more pitches, try more closes. And you won't waste your opportunities to close big deals. Like I said, those opportunities to close big deals are going to be more scarce, so you don't want to waste those in the beginning. It's better to wait a little bit, really figure out your sales motion, and then go try to win bigger deals. You also have a better chance of winning those bigger deals later. So instead of trying to win them now, you'll actually win more of them later because you'll understand your sales process and your sales motion better with starting small and learning more faster. The next aspect of this early stage sales strategy is sprinting. So when starting sales activity, your learning curve is going to be measured by activity, not time. The learning in sales is going to come across how many cold calls I make, for example. If I make 200 cold calls over the course of 3 days or over the course of 3 weeks, my learning is probably going to be very similar. But if I were to sprint through those first couple hundred calls and do them in a couple days, I'm going to learn a lot faster. So this is a really core principle to sales learning in our learning curve, is that it's measured in activity, not in time. So why is this important? Why would we sprint? So our first weeks of sales efforts are not the time to take things slow and be methodical. Our early sales efforts should be a sprint. Similar to how we would build code in a sprint, we're going to really figure out early sales in a sprint. So this is going to help us fast track our learning. We're going to learn faster, and it's going to help us figure out more quickly what works and what doesn't. It's going to help us ramp pipeline growth more quickly. So we're going to get a healthy pipeline going faster in the course of weeks instead of months. And then it's going to help make sales more sustainable. So over the long run, if we can build a healthy pipeline faster and keep that going, that's going to make our sales more sustainable. It's going to help us get more revenue instead of having a slow trickle into revenue every month. We can really open the floodgates if we sprint with our early sales efforts, and we're going to create more opportunities for ourselves that'll close now and down the road. So it's popular in sales to advocate for doing things like highly personalized prospecting, and this is not a match for early stage startup sales. It's for more mature orgs, not startups. So don't get into all this highly personalized prospecting up front where you're spending 10 to 15 minutes researching a prospect before you reach out. Unless if this is like a referral or someone you've networked to, just be fast and focus on doing work quickly. So make these 4 to 6 weeks of sales activity a sprint. We want to go for something that's probably unsustainable and unscalable. Do a ridiculous amount of sales work up front so that you can back off later and find a sustainable pace. And the last principle or aspect of this early startup sales strategy is focusing on quantity over quality. That's right. I didn't say quality over quantity like most people do. I said quantity over quality. So you have a unique value prop that the market isn't aware of. You have something new and interesting that people don't know about, or else you probably wouldn't be starting your startup. There's something different about you, and you're probably just not a Me Too competitor. If you are, I'm sorry. So you want to be as efficient as possible with your sales efforts, right? You want to pick the lowest hanging fruit. You don't want to waste time. So there's already a small percentage of your market that's ready to buy what you have. There's existing demand in your market that if you told them about what you have, they would just buy. They wouldn't really be difficult to close. They'd just be like, yep, sounds great. I want in. So your early stage sales efforts should focus around converting those people and not really worry about anyone else. Mature sales tactics are ill suited for this stage of startup selling. Mature sales tactics don't go after that existing marketing demand or market demand. They go after everyone because they've already captured a lot of the existing market demand, or they or their competitors have. So you want to go for quantity over quality. Just try to reach that, whatever it is, 2 to 5% of the market that's ready to buy right now. Just reach them first and get those easy ones. Then you can go sell to the people who are going to be harder to sell to. Find those people who are ready to buy first, then focus on these mature sales tactics later. So my advice here is avoid heavy research or things like personalization at scales. It's just not a fit for this stage of sales. You're going to end up wasting time if you do all of that. Just move quickly and focus on quantity over quality. It's better to win more customers quickly than a few over the long run right now. So be more uniform in your messaging, rely more heavily on scalable outreach like email, use fewer touches in your cadences or in your outreach, and the interested will respond, right? Like the best people are going to rise to the top and they're going to buy from you. Everyone else, you can come back and contact them again in a couple months and it's not going to matter. They won't remember you. So the uninterested will just forget about you in a week and then you can try again later. As a review of our early stage strategy for startup sales, our goals of our first sales efforts are going to be to generate quick revenue, accelerate our sales and product learning, and get fast product feedback. So the strategy for this year is going to be to start small because smaller deals normally close easier and faster. Do a sprint at first, so a period of intense activity that accelerates learning and wins more deals quickly, and then quantity over quality. And that's going to let you reach more people and capture the existing demand in your market.
Okay, looking back on this video now, I think that one big change I would make would be thinking about how AI has entered the space. When I was recording this, personalization at scale was all the rage within sales, and everyone was doing really high quantity activity, and that was being challenged. And it was, people were saying, hey, you have to research your prospect, know them, show them you know them, which works in certain situations. But like I explained, a lot of times it's just not a fit. With the emergence of AI, tools like Clay and AirScale and GPTs that can search the web, that is going to be a better tool that might make it scalable and still let you move really fast and still sprint while doing really high quantity. So the one of the videos upcoming or one of the later videos in the course is going to talk about the different prospecting channels that you can use. And so when you're watching that video of the prospecting channels, I would think back to this strategy of starting small, sprinting, and quantity over quality, and think about how you can apply that in each of those channels, whether that's cold calling, cold email, networking, social selling, referrals, people you already know, things like that. So think about how you can apply this strategy in each of those when you go launch, right? So for example, in cold email, it might just be getting a cold outreach tool for email and then using a tool like Clay or another AI to enrich your prospect information and write more personalized emails and getting more creative. Like the work that Jacob Twymer has done on LinkedIn is really good. I highly recommend going and reading his posts, seeing especially 2 years ago how he was leveraging AI to fill in this information and write really good cold email campaigns. I think the other thing I would say here is that on starting small, that is relative. So if you are an enterprise product, maybe start at the bottom of your like enterprise ICP or like top end of mid-market, right? So starting small is relative here. That's not an absolute, like you don't have to start in SMB, but if it makes sense to, definitely start there. Like get faster revenue, book those wins, book those learnings as quickly as you can, instead of wasting a bunch of time and increasing risk by only working on mid-market or enterprise deals that just have longer sales cycles, more decision makers, unless that's your background in sales and that's the sale you know how to do. If that's the case, go do that. So once again, like all these things are loose recommendations that fit, the middle of the bell curve, and there are going to be a couple of these things that don't exactly apply to you. And where that's the case, please break from this advice and follow your best judgment. And then if any part of this still isn't making sense to you, if there are things you have questions about, come to revliftoff.com. That's revliftoff.com. And you can see in this How I Help section, we have links to this free Startup Sales Accelerator you're listening to right now on Spotify or YouTube. You can get access to all the workbooks I made that make implementing everything in this course really, really simple. Or you can book a one-on-one session with me if there's something specific you want to talk through. If you feel stuck on something, we'll spend that time to help accelerate your sales efforts and remove any roadblocks you're running into. Thanks.